Morning has broken. I am up at the butt crack of dawn, running small errands and getting myself ready because today, I go riding. I will be meeting up with my instructor Jordan for another ride out, another in my series of pickup lessons to keep sharp the skills I've learned since last December. I'm not sure what bike I will be riding today, but I'm up for anything. And I guess we'll see when I get there. It's the 1986 Honda Rebel 450, baby! I love this bike, and today I'm going to be doing my first group ride. Up ahead we have my instructor Jordan on the Hyosung 250, Romario on the Yamaha FC6R, and slightly off to my left is Nikolai on the Honda CBR 600. Bye-bye, Sonic. I'll be back. I'm just gonna cheat on you a little bit with this bike. So this video is going to be a look at me, a relative noob, on my first group ride. It's a bit of a different dynamic. Riders usually position themselves in a staggered formation. That way we have clear line of sight and space to move from side to side if obstacles arise. And they will, because Jamaican roads are fantastic like that. Right here you can see Jordan giving me the signal to go past, but I'm having a difficult time doing so because, as you can see from the jerky camera, the road is hella lumpy in my lane. I'm just going to keep a speed that I feel comfortable with while navigating this segment, because on most other bikes you usually use your knees to grip the tank and engage with the bike, but on a cruiser you're kinda just sitting, so on a lumpy road it feels like you're gonna get kicked off by an angry bull. Now, something that most non-riders don't know is that indicators on a bike are non-cancelling. So I have to manually engage the switch before a turn and hopefully remember to manually disengage the switch after making the turn. So if you ever see the indicator light still going on my cluster, it's cause I forgot. And if you ever see a bike out on the road with the indicator still going for ages, it's probably because they just forgot. Being on a motorcycle means that motorists are often not looking for us. They're looking for other cars, so we have to navigate the road in a way that ensures our own safety. Even if it sometimes looks a little bit sketchy to other people. At stoplights, we position ourselves either in front of the line of traffic or to the side, so we are not between cars where we can get accidentally pinned from behind. There goes Nikolai on the CBR. He's one of Jordan's past students and obviously a more proficient and skilled rider than I am, and this was Romario's third time out on the road, but he's a lot more confident on that R6 than I would be. Which brings me to something that I've heard in almost every YouTube video about group rides: ride your own ride. In a group, there are going to be people with varying skill levels, and you should not feel pressure to keep up with a more skilled rider. Also, this cruiser is not a sport bike and it does not handle the same. Ride where you're both comfortable and safe. But at the same time, if you want to improve your skill, absolutely push yourself out of your comfort zone. But slowly and safely. There's a balance, especially when you are on someone else's rare classic cruiser. Speaking of which, I want to draw your attention to the instrument cluster on this bike. This is an old school boy. There isn't really much there. A speedometer, an odometer, some lights, which are the left and right indicator, the neutral position indicator, and the bright light indicator. There isn't even a gear position indicator, so you only know what gear you're in by listening to the engine or from your own experience. This is about as raw a ride as you can get. There isn't even a gas gauge. So the only way to know how much gas is left is either by looking directly in the tank or waiting until the bike tells you it's tapped out, mid-ride. And the engine cuts out.
Did we run out of gas?
Yes. Here I'm reaching down to turn on the petcock. Mind out of the gutter, please. Turning on the petcock out of the gutter taps into the tank's fuel reserve. Now it usually won't start up right away, so I give the bike a good shake to slosh the gas around. And after a few more cranks, I hear that familiar thumping of the engine as it comes back to life.
Yeah, because it's a gas, I turned on the petcock. Turn on the reserve. Yeah.
And off we go to the nearest gas station, which is thankfully just up ahead. Luckily it cuts out now, because any further along the road and the next gas station would be at the airport, and it will teeth in there.
So now that we're putting gas in, we put it back down.
You just saw me turn the petcock back into the off position. Now this is very important, because forgetting to turn off the petcock would mean that the next time you run out of gas, you would have no reserve because you already had the reserve engaged. And as we say here in Jamaica, you woulda get what the duck get. This segment brought to you by the sultry sounds of the Rebel 450 engine drowned out by wind noise. I promise, guys, I'll try to find some way to fix this wind noise, but until then, you're just gonna have to put up with it for the rest of this video. I really love these early morning rides. There's not much traffic, the air is cooler, and you get this zen atmosphere to really bond with the machine. I know most are not really morning people, but I'm kind of a freak of nature like that. I'll go to bed at 4 a.m. and still be ready to rock and roll by 6. But not consecutive days in a row, that's just insanity.
Okay, cool. All right.
On a Saturday morning, a lot of cyclists and joggers are out here along this stretch of the road, and who can blame them? You get the ocean views, the open road, and the cool wind off the water. It's one of the main reasons I always wanted to ride, to experience a new way of travel, to feel myself out in nature with the wind against my body and the smell of the fresh open air. It's an almost spiritual experience. Well, maybe not for the people who have to commute daily through Jamaican traffic by bike. On this ride, I'm trying to get more confident with my gear shifting. I have to remember that this isn't a car, I can change quicker. The other thing I want to practice is rev matching when gearing down. These are the things I try to keep in mind as I'm riding, areas I know need improvement with practice and taking the opportunity to do so. This is why I do these rides. I'm still practically a noob. This section of road has some nice long turns, and if you notice, I turn my head to look into the corner before turning the bike. You'll see the instrument cluster go over to one side and then recenter as I complete the turn. I'm basically trying to keep the vanishing point of the road in the center of my vision. As I learned in class, the bike will go wherever you look, and if you want to make nice clean turns, you have to stay focused on where you're going to go. The same goes for regular riding really, always look 15 seconds ahead. And finally we arrive in the historic town of Port Royal, echoing with the boisterous swagger of pirates and the songs of lusty wenches. Nah, it's a pretty chill place. We're the ones making up a racket with our bikes. Whoops.
Is this the first time you guys coming out here?
Well, no, I came out with him 2 weeks ago, and it was the first time I'm riding in a group of people.
The fun? Yeah. We're liking it so far.
I mean, it's a good experience. You know, to breathe.
That's the feeling.
We had a brief stint. We talked about the recent goings-on and the sorry state of Jamaican politics before heading back out on the road. We're heading to a supermarket in New Kingston to get some supplies for a 3-day lockdown, then going back to base. I'm being a bit more aggressive with these corners, heading back faster up to the corners, then dropping my speed before the turn, then ramping back up after. Again, pushing myself a bit out of my comfort zone here, but that's what these rides are about. Now, let me shut up and just watch us get to the supermarket. Now here we are leaving the supermarket with our lockdown loot. But guess what Jordan gave me for carry? Eggs. Eggs! The brother gave me eggs for carry. Not even like 6 eggs, 12. So right now I have a saddlebag full of eggs. So now not only do I have to worry about not mashing up the man nice bike, but now me have to try not broke him eggs. Is this part of training? This is some Karate Kid Mr. Miyagi kind of dealio. I will never become a true bike master unless I can safely carry eggs. Romario was having a little trouble, so I alerted Jordan. Some shade so that I don't boil myself or the eggs. They did a bike swap and we were on the way. And here we are. We made it back safely. It was a lovely day and a great ride out with cool people. And guess what? I never break none of the eggs.